Hello, dear one, and welcome to the final episode in our special series on anxiety here on the Christian Divine Feminine podcast. I'm Rebecca, and I want to begin this episode with a moment of reverence for you, for every part of you that's listened with an open heart, for every fear you've named, every tear you've let fall, every sacred moment where you whispered, "I want to heal." That desire alone is holy. Today we arrive at a place that may be the most beautiful and the most challenging part of the journey: surrender. It sounds soft and serene, doesn't it? But if you've ever lived with anxiety, you know that surrender isn't passive. It's courageous. It's a spiritual art form. It's a profound shift in how we live, love, and relate to God. So today, let's explore together what it really means to surrender. Not as a giving up, but as a sacred letting go and letting in. Let's talk about why it's the key to transforming anxiety and how the divine feminine can guide us toward this kind of spiritual freedom. Anxiety thrives on control. It whispers that if you can just manage it all, your relationships, your children, your health, your reputation, the future, then maybe you'll finally feel safe. But that's a lie, because anxiety is not a puzzle to solve. It's a signal. It's often the voice of a younger, frightened part of you who once felt unsafe in a chaotic world and decided that being on high alert was the only way to survive. And here's the heartbreaking thing. That vigilance once protected you. It was your shield. It may have even saved your life. But now, as an adult, it exhausts your body, clouds your mind, and closes off your heart to joy and presence. So when we say the word surrender, that younger part of us often hears danger. It says, if I don't stay in control, I'll fall apart. But beloved, surrender isn't falling apart. It's falling into something deeper. It's falling into a love that holds you without demanding that you perform or prove anything. It's falling into divine presence. And the miracle? That younger, frightened part of you doesn't have to be cast out. She can be welcomed, she can be held, she can be shown gently and consistently that she no longer has to carry the world alone. In sacred psychology, there's a growing understanding that our inner world is made up of many parts. Some are playful, others wise. Some are angry, others deeply afraid. And anxiety is often the voice of what we call a protector part. It's hypervigilant because it believes that without its constant scanning, planning, and preparing, you won't be okay. But deep beneath that protector part is something even more essential: your soul. And your soul doesn't work through control. It works through trust, through presence, through flow. When we begin to surrender, we're not betraying our protector parts. We're showing them that there is another way, a safer, softer way. Surrender becomes a return to your truest self, the self that is calm, connected, and compassionate, the self that is never separate from the divine. And when we engage in spiritual practice, prayer, stillness, sacred ritual, we make room for that self to rise. We begin to see that letting go isn't abandonment. It's alignment. The Christian tradition has long spoken of God as Father, strong, sovereign, all-knowing, but the feminine face of God offers us something equally vital: the sense of being held, nurtured, and received. In divine feminine theology, surrender is often imagined as a return to the womb of the sacred. It's not a collapse into chaos. It's a yielding into love. Think of the womb. It's dark, quiet, safe. It's a space of becoming. You don't have to do anything to grow there. You simply allow yourself to be held. That's the spiritual truth the divine feminine offers. You don't have to strive or manage or fix everything. You are already held, already loved, already known. When we live with anxiety, we forget that. We believe everything depends on us, but surrender means remembering that you're not alone. You are seen by a love that existed before your fears and will outlast every storm you walk through. Let's take this deeper into the body. When you live in a near constant state of anxiety, your nervous system becomes used to operating in survival mode. This is the domain of fight, flight, or freeze. Your heart races. Your breath shortens. Your mind loops and loops. But here's the beautiful truth. Your body is not betraying you. It's responding exactly as it was designed to. It's saying, something doesn't feel safe. When you begin to surrender, not just intellectually but somatically, you start to activate the part of your nervous system responsible for rest and healing. The parasympathetic system. This is where breath slows, muscles release, tears flow. It's not weakness, it's regulation, and it's sacred. When you light a candle, when you breathe with intention, when you place your hand on your heart in prayer, you're not just calming your mind. You're speaking to your nervous system in a language it understands. You're saying, it's safe now. You don't have to fight. Surrender begins in the body, and the divine feminine meets you there, not in transcendence, but in tenderness. Let's talk about something that quietly fuels anxiety, resistance. So often we don't realize that what causes the most suffering isn't the situation itself. It's our refusal to accept it. We resist that someone disappointed us. We resist that our health has changed. We resist that we feel lonely or afraid or angry. And that resistance tightens the body, floods the nervous system, and stokes the fire of anxiety. But here is the paradox. What we resist persists, and what we accept begins to shift. Acceptance doesn't mean resignation. It doesn't mean we stop caring or give up on what we love. It means we stop fighting reality. We meet what is with presence and compassion. And in that holy meeting, something begins to soften. I want to share something I've never shared on this podcast before, my own story of surrender. Years ago, I was pregnant for the first time and I was ecstatic. My whole body was filled with joy. This pregnancy was most wanted, but on my very first visit to the doctor, everything shifted. He told me that the pregnancy was most likely not viable. He offered me two choices, a termination or to let it end naturally. I chose to wait. I had heard too many stories where women had been told something similar, only to go on and have a healthy baby. I clung to hope. By the time I got to the receptionist's desk, I was already crying. My sister asked me what was wrong, but I couldn't get the words out. I just wanted to go home, to fix it somehow. Once home, fear gripped me. I couldn't stop crying. I prayed and prayed for the pregnancy to be okay. I searched the internet for remedies. I begged, I pleaded. Desperation flooded every inch of my being. Eventually, I cried myself to sleep, shutting the world out, withdrawing into a grief I couldn't yet name. And then, in the early hours of the morning, I woke to cramping, severe cramping. And in that moment, I understood. This wasn't going to go the way I wanted. And then, something shifted inside me. I went quiet, not from shock, but from a deep inner knowing. This was going to happen. And somehow, I was going to be okay. In that moment, I surrendered. Not because I believed it was nature's way, as many people had suggested, not because I was ready, but simply because it was happening. This was my reality, and I chose to stop fighting it. And here's what I want you to hear most of all. The surrender didn't take away my grief. I was still in agony. The pain was raw. The despair was heavy. I felt rage, confusion, sadness so deep it hollowed me out. But somehow, that surrender held it all. It was like a wide, unseen hand cradling every ounce of my sorrow, saying, "You don't have to hold this alone." My surrender didn't erase the suffering. It became a container for it. And in a strange and sacred way, it made the grief bearable. Afterward, people tried to console me. They meant well. They said things like, "There'll be other pregnancies," or "You're upset because of the dream of having a baby." And I wanted to scream, "No, that's not what I'm feeling." I wasn't grieving a fantasy. I wasn't just mourning a dream. I was heartbroken for the little soul I was not going to meet. But even that rage subsided quickly. My inner knowing rose gently again and reminded me, this is your reality. And even if others miss the mark in their effort to connect, you can still accept what is. I didn't need their words to match my truth. I just needed my own truth to be honored within me. And that was powerful. Looking back now, I see how sweet that was. Not sweet in the sense of easy or gentle, but sweet in the way something sacred brushes against your life in its most broken hour. I felt accompanied. I felt witnessed. I felt, even in that heartbreak, mysteriously loved. Because surrender gave me what no one else could. Not my husband, not my family, not my friends. Surrender gave me a container for my emotions, a path forward through the pain and grief, and most importantly, access to the divine, who walked beside me step by step, breath by breath. And from that pain and experience, something else began to bloom. I learned the power of surrender, not just as a moment of survival, but as a way of being. It helped me begin to release the anxiety that had always sat in the air between my mother and grandmother, the quiet tension, the worry inherited like a fragile thread passed down through generations. This experience became the beginning of breaking that cycle. And now, when I look at my children, when I see how they handle worry, how they breathe through big feelings, how they somehow trust that things will unfold, I feel this quiet happiness rise in me. They seem to instinctively understand something I had to learn through heartbreak, that surrender is not giving up. It is being held. It makes me quietly proud and deeply grateful, because that moment of surrender didn't just change my life, it shaped theirs. That is the power of surrender. It doesn't take the pain away, but it makes space for you to bear it. It becomes the hand you hold as you walk through the fire. You may find that when you stop trying to escape your life and instead invite the divine to sit with you inside it, your anxiety becomes more manageable. You stop bracing. You start breathing. This is the sacred art of surrender, not escaping your reality, but receiving it with grace. No one embodies sacred surrender quite like Mary Magdalene. She stood at the foot of the cross when others fled. She stayed through the heartbreak, through the silence of Holy Saturday, through the disorientation of grief. And because she stayed, because she surrendered to the mystery, she became the first to witness resurrection. Her story teaches us that surrender is not an end. It's a gateway. It's what allows miracles to enter. But she didn't get there by pushing or performing. She got there by being present, by feeling it all, by letting her tears fall and still staying open. Surrender opens us to miracles. Not the flashy kind, but the subtle, sacred kind, like peace where there was panic, stillness where there was striving, love where there was loneliness. In the Mary Magdalene Way Sacred Prayer Journal, we explore this very path. Her story invites us to live with courage and softness. It teaches us that surrender isn't weakness. It's sacred alignment with the divine flow. So how do we begin to practice this? Not just once, but daily. Here are some gentle ways to invite surrender into your life. Begin your day with breath. Before you open your phone or your calendar, place your hands on your heart and say, I don't have to carry it all today. I'm not alone. You can use water as a ritual. As you shower or wash your hands, imagine fear and control washing away. Let the water carry it for you. Journal with the divine. Ask, what am I gripping onto today? And what would it feel like to trust? Light a candle at night. As the flame flickers, imagine the light of divine presence entering every space you once filled with anxiety. And in our upcoming 3 blessings, 1 prayer journal, we practice this daily, naming what is good, letting it anchor us, and offering 1 prayer, not as performance, but as presence. That is the holy rhythm of surrender. Beloved, if there's one thing I want you to take from this episode, it's this. Surrendering to the moment is the ultimate antidote to anxiety. Not because it removes every fear, but because it removes the illusion that you're alone in facing it. The Divine Feminine doesn't ask you to be perfect. She asks you to be present. Let go of what you thought your life should be. Let in what your life actually is. Let it become your teacher. Let it open you. Let it transform you. This is the sacred art of surrender. This is the miracle of now. Thank you for walking this series with me. You are held, you are seen, you are deeply, wholly loved. If you do feel the need to journal your thoughts and prayers, we invite you to discover our Mary Magdalene Way Sacred Prayer Journal, now available at roseblessings.com. Our next podcast series is on sacred practices. We'd love to have you there for this new series. Until next time, go gently, go honestly, go surrendered.